Hello, hi, good evening, and welcome to day 4 of AMA of GitHub Externship. And today we have with us Anand Chaudhary from Coach. Hi, Anand, how are you?
Hello.
Yeah, hi Anand. So it is great having you on board with us because we'll be having a fun interaction. We'll try to understand what Coach is actually and what we are trying to look forward to. What are the opportunities? And there would be numerous questions that the participants would be having for GitHub Externship. So before I just begin, I'll have a couple of minutes to just introduce to the new joinees. So, good evening, everyone, and we are here over again as we are every day. We would be going through the principles, trying to understand what would be happening in the next few couple of days. What is the process when the application process would be ending? How to apply, how to select your organization, and to give you some insights about coach and how what the mentors actually asking from you for coach. We would be having today with us Anand Chaudhary. So hi Anand, once again welcoming you. So before we begin, if you could just give a brief about yourself and the organization.
Absolutely. Hi, I'm Anand. I am the co-founder and CTO at it's actually Koi, which is pretty weird and annoying, but I don't know. No time to get into it. But yeah, so we're a Swiss company which does living as a service, meaning we do a bunch of things related to personalized interior design and rental furniture, but that's completely unrelated to why I'm here. So last year I wanted to build a status page uptime monitor because I realized that there weren't like super nice customizable ones online, and the ones which were like status page and stuff are like super expensive, like thousands every month. And so I was like, you know what, this sounds like something I can maybe use GitHub Actions for, and I built Uptime with two P's, which is an open source uptime monitor and status page generator. Um, and so we launched it on GitHub, and people really liked it. We got like 7,000 stars now, I think. We were on the front page of Hacker News, CSS Tricks, all over. And now it's been a while since I've worked on it, just because I'm also doing the real company work. Um, and so we figured I'm also a GitHub star, so when GitHub told me about this upcoming program, I was pretty excited, and I thought it could be a great way to get new people who are also just getting started with the open source contributions. And now we have a fun new backlog of discussions and issues that we can all work on together. So maybe later, if you have any specific questions, we can dive into that, or I can give you a quick demo on how Uptime works. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, so just to inform the students, Anand is also a GitHub star. So you would be looking forward to working with one of the GitHub stars under their guidance. Who better to look forward to understand open source contribution than a staff? So apart from that, let's get into the principles and try to understand what the project is about. So if you could just explain in few words.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So if you like, I can quickly share my screen, and that would make it
definitely, definitely.
even
Yeah, that
easier.
would
Yeah,
be, yeah,
awesome.
that would be more better.
Um, so uptime monitors are automated tools with which you can check if your site is up or not. So imagine a little robot that goes to your site every 5 minutes, and the site looks fine and it says all good. But if it's not, maybe it can send you an email or a Slack message, or have somewhere you notified or whatever. And these are very common. So if you have a production website, it's generally a best practice to have an uptime monitor. And some companies like to have a status page as well. So if you look at, I don't know, Notion, because Notion loves to go down all the time. Maybe it's status, not Notion. Yeah. Um, you can have a public status page where you can tell people when your site was down and why it was down. So it's useful for people to know this, that hey, yeah, I'm not able to access the site, so they can come in and say, oh yeah, it was down because of this issue. Now it's been fixed. So with Uptime, you can basically get both the Uptime Monitor part and the status page part completely free, unlimited, and fully powered by GitHub Actions. So how it works is that we have an Uptime Monitor, which is a GitHub Actions scheduler. which you can basically tell GitHub Actions to run something frequently. So if you look at our GitHub Action script, you would see that we have a cron job, which asks GitHub to run this every 5 minutes. So it would go to your site and check if it's fine. And we have a little configuration file here that we ask people to create. And it's super simple. You just add the list of websites that you want to monitor. You add, what kind of notifications you want, and Uptime would generate this little page for you where you can see the live status of all of your websites. So you can see these sites are up and one of this site is down right now. And you can also see, how fast the site is, what the response time is, and how much it has been up. So obviously Google has been up, all the time because Google doesn't like to go down. But interestingly, Hacker News went down a little bit. So, you would see it's 99.9% in the past 1 month. And then with this, you also get a status website. So this is the status site of the open source project you see. So you get a nice little website where you can show other customers or other users. And you can see here that there are 2 active incidents right now. So 2 sites are down right now. But you can also see past incidents. So like I said, Hacker News was down a few days ago. I remember this. So Uptime can also log this. And the cool part is that you never need to leave GitHub because all of these incidents are actually GitHub issues. So whenever Uptime sees that a site is down, it creates a GitHub issue, and you can now add things like why was this down and more information, which would be displayed to your users on the website as well. And then you can click on a site, you can see past performance and stuff like that. So it's really like a super simple way. It has other lots of customizations. If you're more interested, you can always read the documentation. But for example, you can have notifications for Slack and Telegram and email, or you can manually trigger stuff, or now you can have scheduled maintenance events. So if you look at the configuration, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do. And it's really fun because it really truly came out of a problem I had that, hey, I want a really quick uptime monitor solution. And now we use it on production. So at Koi, we have our status.koi.co website where you can see, and over 1,000 companies are using this now in the past 6 months. So that's super cool. So Uptime, so even though Koi is the organization that is part of the program, you'll see that we have a lot of open source projects here as well. But as part of this externship, we are focusing on Uptime. And so, just a quick idea, we have some awesome applications already, and we have a lot of discussions and a lot of issues. So we can work together on seeing, what are the new features people want. And just to end this really quickly, we have a Uptime/GitHub Externship repository, and over here you would find all the information on how to apply, what are we looking for, and just like you would code, you make a pull request, and that's your application. So yeah, that's a little bit about Uptime. That's it.
Yeah, thanks for such an interesting demonstration of what the project is about. Definitely an interesting way of utilizing the features which are already present in GitHub and tuning it to the best of the users. Basically, it's quite a clever way of implementing things. So really a great project to be a part of, and I definitely want to use it. So I'll just try it implementing on our site itself. So yeah, I've got a thing to do for today. So yeah, for the participants side of view, you have got a interesting point of view of what the project is all about, and I do hope that you have got a basic understanding. Just to explain a little bit more, it is basically a sort of a down detector which is for your own website, wherein instead of going and checking and doing a search every time on down detector, you have your automated system which gives you a report and a log. So this is for all those who wanted to get a better understanding. Now, coming on next, if let's say am a student and want to participate and contribute to code, so what is the tech stack that I would be required to have? What are the information or knowledges that I need to have, or the skill set, so that I would be able to contribute and make something, if not at all, but a little bit of enhancements to it?
Yeah, so Uptime is written fully in TypeScript, and it's basically using Node. So if you have any JavaScript experience, you would be able to pick it up pretty easily. If you have any TypeScript experience, that would be awesome. But if you don't, TypeScript is very easy to pick up these days. There's a lot of really nice tutorials. And honestly, if you have no coding experience, even then, there's always enough work for documentation or demos and improvements. So there'll always be something to contribute. But yeah, it's a full stack TypeScript, the whole plugin part. So the whole uptime monitor, it goes to your site. It's all Node.js. And then we have the front end part, which is the status website. That is also written in TypeScript, but it uses Svelte, which is a front end framework. But if you're really well versed with, I don't know, Vue or React or something else, then we can always explore maybe building multiple different front end options for people also. So I wouldn't. So I think overall, if you have any JavaScript or just web experience, you would probably be a good fit. Like I wouldn't say that if you don't know TypeScript or if you don't know Svelte, you should not apply. I think you should apply, and we'll always have something fun to do.
Yeah. So whosoever has got certain experience in any form of front end development has some scope
Yeah,
over here and there to come up
absolutely.
with new. So
Or if you're
definitely,
very interested in backend stuff, the whole uptime monitor is just Node, so that would be also very interesting. Anything JavaScript related, really. Yeah.
yeah. So that opens a lot of gates for the students who are looking forward to contributing. Moving ahead with that, the next question would be: let's say I finalize and I do know that I will somehow suit into this project, but the question that would come into my mind is that since a lot of students would be applying, how do I write a proposal? What should my proposal consist of, and what should be the content that should go into the proposal?
Um, I'd say, call me a nerd, but I think homework is great. I think if you do your homework, you would already do a really good proposal. So, for example, we've already had a few really good proposals that I really enjoyed reading. And what they had in common is that you did your homework, meaning that you look at the uptime repo, maybe you have a personal site, or even if you don't, you maybe clone the project, create your own uptime monitor and see how it works, or maybe go through the GitHub issues and discussions and see maybe you find an interesting feature or you have your own idea. So I think if you just go through the project, even if you don't want to go through the code, but just the open discussions, then you can already have a rough idea that these are the kind of features that other people are looking for. And maybe based on that, you can come up with your own ideas of what we can implement, or just decide that, hey, this is something that I would be excited on and I want to work on this feature. So I think a good proposal is thorough in terms of it shows that you've already read about the project, you've gone through the discussions and issues, and maybe created your own uptime monitor. Um, Otherwise, maybe if you haven't done that, you can just kind of share about why this is an interesting problem to solve, or if you have a background with a specific technology that would make you more relevant. But I think almost always, like when I do cold emails or just talk to investors, or other founders, just doing your homework makes such a big impact, because then people take you seriously, because they know that you're not just a random person just cold emailing me. You've looked at, if I'm an investor, I would say you've looked at my past portfolio and I would be a good fit. Or just in general, I would say, yeah, do your homework, and I think that would make a really good proposal.
Yeah, definitely that doesn't. But with this, I do come to a question again that okay, I've understood what the project is. I understood what to provide into the proposal. But let's say it would be quite easier for me if I would have known what the scope of the project is for the next 3 months period in which I'd be interning,
Sure.
if selected. So if I am able to know what the scope of the project is or what the vision is in the mind of the mentor or the organizer, then it would definitely help me as a student compile my proposal. So
Yeah,
if you
I
could
understand.
throw some light over there.
Yeah, so I think over the past maybe half year, we've had a lot of open issues and a lot of new ideas and discussions. So I would say over the next 3 months, the goal would be, maybe fix all bugs that we have, which you would see as open issues, and maybe implement some popular features. So if you look at our discussions tab you would see that, and GitHub has this nice feature where you can sort by all-time top answers, for example, and then you can see people have some common questions that maybe they wanted maintenance, which we then added, or an easy way to create a custom site, or check into other ports, stuff like that. I think if we can close all issues and work on some popular features, I would say that's a very successful externship. So I'd say it's not, the scope is not to like build something new from the ground up, but just continue maintenance and work on fixing issues and some new features in the project.
Okay, so means in a way, leaving the students on their own, define their part, work, come up with ideas, and come up with solutions for the same,
Yeah,
as well
but
as
also I think a lot of people have already given really good ideas and discussions. So it can also be you find some nice ideas and pick that, hey, this is something I want to work on, and then make a pull request, add a new feature, stuff like that. Yeah.
yes, sure, sure. So I've understood as a student. So I'd again be coming up to you as a student. So I have understood each and every part, how I'd be designing the proposal, how what is the scope of the project. But is there a thing which I write into the proposal that would sparkle in your mind? Okay, this is the one I was looking for. So what is that thing? Just asking you out that if you could just help us propose and create the best solution out there.
I would say if I'm reading an application and somebody gives me a link to their status page because they went through the effort and made their own uptime monitor page, and then they have some ideas on these are the problems I faced when starting the project. The documentation was not thorough enough. I was confused about how to do this, so I would want to fix it for other people, right? I think experience would be like visible in the proposal. That would be awesome.
Okay, so basically emphasizing on if you have already done some work over there, if you have created a clone basically and created some specifications, added new features onto that and try to,
Or just if you have some ideas on what you can do. Not really a clone, but so how Uptime works is that it's a template repository, meaning you can press the use this template button on GitHub, and that would kind of
yeah,
do a shallow fork of the project, and then you can get
yes.
your own Uptime monitor. So just pressing that one button will already help you, figure out how the project works and what features you can add, or if you have any issues with that, because a lot of people do. um, that I think that would be more than enough in a good proposal. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. So that does help answer a lot of queries. One important thing that usually comes up is that, let's say, since I'm a student, I would also be participating in college activities, and since the entire education system in the past 1 year has shifted to online, and colleges are still figuring out how to proceed with the online education system, what is the time and effort that I would be required to dedicate over here?
I would say no more than a few hours a week. If you can do, I don't know, 5-6 hours ish, a bit more maybe, a bit less. So, Koi is a fully remote company, and we're very proud of that. My co-founder lives in Switzerland, where we're based out of, but I live here in the Netherlands. We have our first intern we hired was in Delhi. He studies at Triple IT. His name is Mihir, very cool guy. Um, so we're a fully remote company. We don't care about time zones, about working hours. We trust you. So it's more like you should decide how many hours you want to work, how frequently you want to work, and we care a lot about accountability. So if you say I'm going to do this week, do it that week, or just say I need another week. Just be transparent and as low as 4 or 5 hours. But if you have a lot of time, you want to work 10-15 hours, it's totally up to you.
Okay, okay. Yeah, we have a few questions from the audience. I'd just like to put them up. Yeah, someone from the audience is asking that what are the main things that we have to mention in our proposal. Hopefully, this will help every student.
Yeah. So if you look at the GitHub Externship repository, I made it just like a step-by-step instruction on what are the basic things you need. The application template is deliberately pretty hollow. It's just about why do you want to apply. But I think if you see like what we talked about before, it would give you a better idea that if you can already have some idea on how do you triage issues, what are the common features, what do you want to work on, um, whether it's documentation or adding new features or fixing bugs. If you just have some good ideas, then just mention those. Or if you have nothing so far, you need more time to think about it. You can always say, "Hey, this is what I study. This is my tech stack. I'm really good at this. Maybe you've done some past projects related, just to make the case that this is a challenge that you would be a good fit for.
Okay, yeah, that does help. Uh, there are other questions. I just like to hope I'm not just putting up an extra time. So here we go. Sir, is it possible to participate in externship parallelly with an internship? So I do hope that
I think
would
you
be an
decide that, right? Or no?
yeah, yeah, that should be totally upon us. So we'll reply back to the participants accordingly. Uh, yeah, that's an interesting question. Is Uptime Monitor the only project we can write
Ooh,
a
that's a very
proposal
good
on?
question.
Yeah.
So that Uptime is like our most popular it's actually my most popular project. The first time I had a GitHub project with more than 1,000 stars was 20, I think 19, which was Upload, which is the open source file uploading widget. It's also nice. And then Uptime was it it went from like 800 stars to like 1,200 stars in one day, and then it kept growing to like over 5,000 stars. So I was like, whoa. Uh, so a lot of people use it. Like literally over 1,000 organizations and people are monitoring their sites, and they rely upon it. Which is why if there's an issue that notifications don't work sometimes, or the docs are not good enough, it impacts a lot of real people and a lot of even revenue sometimes if you don't know if your site is down. So I think this is the project that you would have the most impact on if you work with us. However, if you look at our site, you would see, tens of open source projects. So if you really strongly, passionately feel that you're way more excited about a different project, I would be happy to consider it, of course. But this is the most comprehensive project that most other people use, and it has already good docs. And I think you would have so you'd have the best kind of impact and learning experience with Uptime.
Okay, so basically, it is all about doing simplistic things in an interesting manner and then getting the crowd. So it is totally up to the participants, but obviously, you are suggesting that Uptime is the one they should go for. So that does really help. We have a couple more questions. Yeah, we have got a question. In the proposal, do we need to specify how one would go about implementing the new feature, or is it the idea enough?
It's up to you. If you have an idea, write it down. That's more than enough. A lot of people apply with not even that. So you're already standing out if you have a good new idea. But if you've already in your head thought about, hey, maybe I'll implement this like this, uh, no harm in spending a few more minutes in writing that down as well. It's really up to you on you, because like all the great part about GitHub and open sources, everything is literally there for everyone. So if you like, you can even go through all the proposals that people have already sent, and you would know that how comprehensive are they, how can I kind of stand out by sharing more about, maybe it could be about how do you implement a feature, you want to write about that, or maybe it could be a more comprehensive documentation of an idea. It's really up to you. uh, yeah, so I think if you can look at past applications, you would already kind of see this is the average quality, and you might want to put some more effort to stand out. But more than that, I think just having an idea is also enough.
Okay, yeah, that does help us answer most of the queries that we had from the participants. So, while it was pretty great and amazing talking to you, if you do have some last words or tips and tricks or some insights for the students, that would be great for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So don't be afraid, right? Open source is it's like I'll tell you something super funny. So I got so GitHub has these new sheet badges now that you get like a little award on your profile, and I got the Mars 2020 badge, which means that an open source project that you've worked on helped land the helicopter on Mars. So that was very cool. Why did I get that badge? Because I didn't do any tech that took humanity on Mars. It turns out I contributed many years ago to Bootstrap, which is the open source front end framework originally from Twitter. Um, Used to be very popular back in the day. And I was like, what did I do? I don't remember. And it turns out I fixed one typo, one word in Bootstrap, and now GitHub says that I made a tiny impact in helping reach Mars. So the point is, you don't know when doing a tiny thing will really shape up. And obviously, I'm not taking credit for going to Mars, but there are so many open source contributors who help do it. Right? It's so every little bit helps. Even if it's correcting a typo or writing documentation or triaging new issues or having new ideas, open up discussions, replying to people. Like there are so many things that you can do even if you don't write any code, and so many more things you can do if you want to code and write new features or fix new bugs or document the code. So I think just start by starting. That would be my advice. There are so many projects which have the good first issue tag or up for grabs tag, and so just making a tiny contribution and the kind of positive reinforcement you get, it's so fun that you don't have to be intimidated. Like you don't have to, just because I'm saying like try Uptime. You don't have to. You can just read up about the docs or go through the issues and have a new idea, or just have an application with no new idea and say, I'm really excited about this. And even though I don't have any ideas right now, I might in the future. So I think just putting that really initial effort goes a long way. So don't be afraid, even if you think it's not a great idea, submit it. Yeah.
So yeah, one last question that we have got is, for submitting proposal, do we definitely should have all the
No,
technologies?
you
Okay.
can know even none of them. But yeah, so the more you know, the more I guess you can contribute to the core tech. Like if you have experience with Svelte, for example, you might build the status page. Or if you have Node and TypeScript experience, you might work more on the Uptime Monitor. But if you just want to work on the documentation or new ideas, you might even need to know zero technologies. So I think it's really up to you. There's no hard and fast rule that you need to know X number of points. Everything is nice to know.
Yeah, with this, thanks a lot, Anand, for joining us and helping us with other queries that we had. So that would definitely help the students and get better benefits as well as results from extensive program. So thanks a lot. Thank you once again. Uh, okay, okay. Can we take one last question from the audience? Hello?
Oops, I think I lost you there.
Hello? Yeah,
Am I
seems
here?
I
Awesome.
yeah,
Okay.
you're there. So can we take one last question because it
Yeah,
seems that we have time.
absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a question. I'm pretty fluent in React, yes, but have little or to no experience in Civil. Is that an hindrance? I am willing to learn Civil.
Yeah, so you can do it both ways. If you're really interested in Svelte and you think you would add to your professional career and you want to learn it, absolutely, I would love to help you learn it. And then you can contribute to the front end side. If not, that's also totally fine. I already have ideas on maybe how we can have some React components that work with Uptime. And so you can directly contribute to that as well. So it's really up to you. I don't think it's a hindrance at all. If you're genuinely interested in learning Svelte, I think Uptime can be a great place where you can kind of learn on the job. So I'll help you learn Svelte, and then you can use it on Uptime. But even if you don't, there's a lot of stuff we can do with other front end frameworks.
So thanks, Anand. Really thanks, and had
All right,
some great
absolutely.
experience talking to you.
Okay, thank you
So
so much for having me. And yeah, thanks for tuning in on Sunday. I'm super looking forward to the applications, and then yeah, we'll talk soon.
yeah, sure. We will see a boost in the applications that you receive post this session. So thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Anand.
All right, have a
Yeah,
nice weekend. Bye bye.
yeah. Bye. So this was Anand Chaudhary from Coach, and thank you everyone for joining in. I hope that again a gentle reminder: 21st of May is the last day for submitting your applications. And if you have any queries, if you have any questions that you want to ask to ask them directly on the Slack workspace while people are there to answer your queries. Tomorrow, next up, we'll be having Deskera with us. So the mentors from Deskera will be joining in at the same time, 7 p.m. And we'll be having Prem and Prasant from Deskera to help you with the queries related to Deskera and how do you want to contribute, what the actual project is about, and what you should be expecting from the project at the end of the 3 months. So thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot for joining in. This was me, Kaushik Roy, and hope we see you again tomorrow at the same time.